all right, we're back. What up, y'all? Welcome, Replicon Radio. I do have a special guest on the line, writer, director of the new movie Final Kill, Mr. Justin Lee. How you doing today, man?
Hey, man, I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, definitely doing well. We appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us today and call in and talk a little bit of movies.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but we always like to get, we kind of want to get to know people we talk to and let the audience, get a better understanding. So I know, I guess you grew up in Washington State. What was your first introduction into the world of movies that kind of led to, eventually making them? Like, how did it all kind of get started, the love and the passion for cinema?
I mean, I've always loved cinema. I think that I had a pretty rough childhood growing up, so I think movies were my biggest escape, just sitting and kind of falling into, a made up world. I think I used to come over to my grandparents all the time. They had this little back room that was kind of my playroom, and I was like, 8, 9 years old, and I remember sneaking into that, and I flipped on, which I think was on TNT, and I'd watch Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and what Motel Hell, all those kinds of movies that used to be on. I mean, Army of Darkness was on all the time, syndicated all the time on, and I just watch all those movies, man. I'd fall into it. We had a huge VHS collection when I was a kid, so same thing. The mother would go to bed, and I'd be watching every rated R movie you could at a very young age.
Right.
And so yeah, it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I had I was going to a community college, Mountain Community College, and I had a film professor there who just was constantly teaching stuff on the movie Memento. And as much as I love Memento, completely burned me out on Memento. And I thought, man, we're not learning about anything else in this class. And so, in a way, it inspired me to just start writing. And that's kind of how I came into it. I just started writing a bunch. I know that sounds weird, but that's kind of how it was. And I kind of wrote the sequel for the Goonies. I wrote a whole draft for the sequel for the Goonies, and that I just kept going with it. And here we are.
That's
so. Yeah.
That's awesome, yeah. Everybody wants one of those sequels. We're still waiting on that. So maybe you can get that going. That'd be dope.
I just don't. I don't think it's going to happen, man. Everyone has been so on board to do a sequel for so long, and I think finally, some of the actors have just gotten too frustrated with the process.
Oh, for sure.
But we'll see what happens.
But that's awesome. I mean, because that resonates with anyone growing up in that time, because it's you know what I mean? Because even people that don't necessarily, want that career, a lot of us probably did things like that, a Goonies sequel or whatever favorite movie they had. They're like, oh, what if this happened in the next one? You know what I mean? And that's pretty cool that it led to getting you into, where we are today. So that's awesome for people out there. So how did that, writing stories and doing that lead into, I guess, essentially getting around to actually writing and directing a film? Was it just like a friend project thing to get started, or was it straight in, dedicated, we're going to try to do this? How did that all begin for you?
I was working kind of when YouTube started to boom. I was kind of playing in the web series space, and I did some projects for the outlet Machinima, which was a huge YouTube channel at the time. And then I had written some stuff, or wrote some stuff, and some people directed some stuff I wrote, and it was, again, just web series stuff. And it was really bad. It was really bad. And I was like, I must be I kind of was like, well, let me write something and direct it. And I had no sense of what directing was. I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't know, I was like, I don't know how to work with actors, And so I wrote something and got kind of into directing on the web series level, and that kind of started to build. I worked with Machinima. I directed some stuff for Machinima. and then just kept going with it. And then eventually got some great advice from some of my heroes. I mean, I got some great advice from Joe Carnahan, the director of Smoke and Aces and The Gray. And, you know, Smoke and Aces is like a huge, Smoke and Aces and The Gray are two of my favorite films. And he just kind of said, when you get to Hollywood, you need to beg, borrow, and steal, make your first movie. Just get a movie in the can and show people that you can make a feature film. And so essentially that's what I did. I found, I think I wrote, my first movie I actually made. It didn't come out. It came out as like my third movie, but the first movie I made was a Western called Any Bullet Will Do. And we shot it in the dead of winter, negative 10 degrees in the middle of Montana. Because I said, I've got like $100,000 and I have to take this and make it look like $1 million. How do we do that? Well, go up into the mountains and go to a place where no one would dream of going and making a movie. With Jeremiah Johnson was the big inspiration behind it. Because that's what Robert Redford did when they made that movie. They shot it on his property in Utah, in the mountains, in the snow. And we did that, and it was the hardest film I've ever had to make, but it's kind of what, it was my calling card. It's what, it kind of has kept me propelled and kept going, hopefully that answers the question. It was,
absolutely.
It's been a long road of a lot of challenges, but you just kind of keep punching through the walls,
That's all. No, that's awesome. And now this is all fairly recent. I mean, these movies came out like 2018, just a few years ago. Obviously, you're probably making them prior to that and working on this stuff. But I mean, this is all still new. You're new to the game, and you've already had, even from the start, you had big names in all your movies, which is pretty exciting for someone new with Meg Foster and Bruce Davison and all kinds of people getting attached to it. So that's a great place to to start out, already pulling in people, and people are willing to be attached to your project. So congratulations for that.
Thanks, man. It's definitely surreal when you work with a lot of these cats, and like I work with Bruce Stern a lot now, and we've become good friends, and it's always something new with Bruce, and I've gotten to be good friends with Billy Zane, and it's just really great, man. It's kind of crazy being such a fan of movies, and then to you have to take a step back sometimes and go, you have lunch and you have drinks with these people and you hang out with these people, and then you kind of step back and go, I was watching these people on movies when I was a child, and now you're friends with them. It's just that you can't ever really wrap your head around it. It's kind of crazy.
That's awesome. Congratulations, man. That's super awesome. So now we're getting ready to release Final Kill. It comes out Friday, March the 6th. This movie's great, man. We saw it. We got to see a screener of it. We'll have a review up for everyone as well, probably before they hear this. But yeah, it's one of those, I don't even know how to describe it. How would you, for people who you want to go see the movie or about the movie, how would you describe Final Kill to them?
I mean, outside of the basic plot, an agent protection specialist who takes on one last job and finds out obviously it's not what it's supposed to be. It was a big throwback to 80s films for me. Lethal Weapon and 48 Hours, Midnight Run, they were all big inspirations for me to make it. And again, I had a very, very tiny budget to make this movie. I'd say most of my budget went into the cast. But again, you have to take something very small and try to make it look bigger. With only the limited resources you have, we shot in Costa Rica and Los Angeles, and shooting in Costa Rica was crazy and a whole adventure into itself. But it was so much fun. And when you do these kind of films, and I haven't got to do something like this really, so it was a breath of fresh air for me. I want to do a lot more like this, but getting to play with Ed Marone as the lead, and
so good,
and what he brought to the table with his performance and his sarcasm and that character, it's just one of my favorite characters that I've ever wrote because of him. And the whole cast around him. I mean, Billy is so great as in his role, and Randy and Dr. Drew. They were all great, man. It was a blast to make, and again, it was such a limited budget, and we didn't have a lot, and so to just stretch that and try to do what you can. I mean, that's the real challenge. That's where that's where everything kind of gets broken down, and you're kind of trying to just go, okay, what like you're trying to make something that you think other people will enjoy, but at the end of the day, you're making something that you'd watch, right? So that's the fun in it right there.
Absolutely, yeah. And Ed Maroon was fantastic. Like I could 100% understand why he'd be one of your favorite characters, because he's hilarious and sarcastic, and it resonates with pretty much anyone I know. Like that's how we would be in that situation, and it's hilarious, and he's a badass at the same time. So yeah, props to him for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's great, man. He really is great. He's a hidden talent. I love the guy to death. We collaborate quite a bit together.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see more from him and you. And this movie comes out March 6th. Like you said, it's a little bit different. You've kind of, I mean, even though you're new, you've already done like what 2 or 3 westerns. So this is definitely a switch around for what you've been doing recently. So that's exciting. New characters, new elements and things like that. Is there anything else? Obviously, this isn't even out yet, but is there more on the table that we can expect for people that go see this and are big fans that they can look forward to coming from you soon?
Yeah, so we shot a movie called Hellblazers. I wrapped it just before Christmas. If you like those, if you're a fan of horror movies, it is set in 1989 with an insane iconic genre cast with Bruce Dern, Meg Foster, Courtney Gaines, Tony Todd, Adrienne Barbeau, and John Cassier, who plays the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
And Billy Zane is also in that as well. It's a crazy awesome cast. And it is a practical creature feature that involves a cult as well. So it was a blast to make, man. And so if you're a big fan of the 80s and horror films, then it'll be a wild ride. It was awesome, and that'll be coming out probably late summer, early fall.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. I love John Cassier. We had him on the show recently, and he's incredible. He's an incredible guy,
nice.
Incredible actor, and yeah.
Oh man, he was a blast, man. He was so fun to work with. It was awesome.
Oh, I could only imagine. So that's super awesome, man. Well, congratulations on all that. I can't wait to see what more you have in store as it just continues to grow, and people learn more and more about you, and more stuff to come in the future. This Friday, Final Kill is out, I believe, on video on demand and select theaters. Is that correct?
Yep. Limited theatrical release. Yeah.
Awesome. So, are you on social media? Is there anywhere people can keep in touch with you and know about all the stuff you have going on, or a website or anything like that?
Yeah, it's justinleedirect.com, and then same handle for my Instagram, just at justinleedirect.
There you go. Awesome, man. Well, I know we're about out of time here, so I just want to say thank you again for hanging out with us at Replicon Radio, and we look forward to everything you have to offer, and want everybody to go see Final Kill. It comes out this Friday. We appreciate you, man.
Hey, thank you. Thanks so much for having me on, and thanks to all your listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Well, hopefully we'll talk again soon.
All righty. We'll see you later.
Bye.